Hello everyone, in this video we'll talk about the annotations in TestNG. So there are different annotations in TestNG. Right now we have discussed only one of the annotation, that is the test annotation, and that's one of the most important annotations that is used for giving the test reports. Now let's come to different types of annotations. Before that, let's understand what exactly the annotation means. So annotations are used to describe the test methods in the test scripts. It's essential to annotate your methods in test to run the test. Now, basically, this is used to tell the test method then how the test scripts are going to execute. And it's basically important to annotate every methods in TestNG so that the methods execute according to the annotations used. Now, the different types of annotations are the before switch annotation, after switch annotations, before test annotations, after test annotations, before class annotations, after class annotations, before method, after methods, before groups, and after groups. Now see, these all are the annotations. Basically, it's named in form of before and after shoots as like first before, then after, before, after, before, after. So we have some before annotations, and just related to that, we have the after annotations. Now let's understand all of these annotations. It's better if we understand these descriptions after the example. Still, let's go over this. Just you see the before suit annotation, this method in test runs before the execution of any methods or test methods. Now same like if there is a before suit annotations, and that will execute before than any other annotations in the TestNG. Now, once all the annotations are executed, at the end, after suit annotations will work. So before every time works first, and again when all the test annotations are done, then the after parts works. Same with the before test. The before test method in test runs before the execution of each test. Now just opposite to that, after test method runs after the execution of each test is done. Now before class, the annotations will run before the test, before the first test method in the current class is invoked, and after class, when everything is done at the end, all the test methods are invoked in the current class, then it closes. Now before method, this method will run before each test method. Then when we are trying to use any test method, before method will execute first. Then the after method, same ways it will execute when all the tests are done. Now before group, these methods will execute before any test of specified group is invoked. Now this is a concept of groups that's basically used in case of suit case. Like when we are using the suits in XML, at that case we use the group concepts. So basically before groups and after groups executes accordingly. Now let's understand the scenario. Here in one, like we'll discuss two programs, and the first programs just we will try to demonstrate the test methods execution. It's important to understand how the test methods are executing, because the flow of methods execution is important to understand. Now the second example is here where we'll perform login to a website, and in this case we'll differentiate the steps. The logic parts we'll place inside the test annotations so that we get the test reports of the test cases, and the other parts like set the path driver, and these will keep inside the before test and after test annotations. So while writing the test cases, we need to understand which part needs to execute first time and which part after that, and also understand which annotations to use along with methods. The points to remember, as we know that only test annotations give the test reports, so logical part we will always keep under the test annotations. Now steps. For first example, just we'll create a class and create methods for all the 10 types of annotations and use the annotations accordingly. Along with their annotations, we'll also use the test annotation and add method to it. In next example, we'll create a TestNG class, use before test and after test concepts to annotations. Now after that, first we'll create a TestNG class, set the path of drivers, and the path will be set inside the before test annotations, logic parts and the credentials performed in the test annotation, and at the end when we close the driver, that will be placed inside the after test annotations. Now let's come to our code area. So these are the examples. This is a simple example that's demonstrate how different methods are used in test annotations. So let's take the first example, that is, let's just copy these methods from here and straight away place it in Eclipse. Basically what we are doing here is we are trying to understand the flow of annotations, it's working. So in this case, just we'll create test chronology. Let's create a TestNG class, in fact, here. It will be easy. And name this as test chronology. And see, you have all the annotations available here: before method, after method, data providers, before class. So all the annotations available in the TestNG, all the options are available. If you click on these annotations, then straight away they'll build a method for you. But here, because I have copied all the methods, so I'll place them here itself straight away. So you can create that way, or you can take it from here. Just like you have the codes, then paste it here, or if it's, you can create your own annotations and write the logics or the codes inside it. Now, just you need to import all the annotations, and while importing, you need to keep one thing in mind, that don't use JUnit annotations. Always use the TestNG annotations. So when you are importing the package, keep this in mind, that every time you import the TestNG annotations only. Don't go for JUnit annotations. So in some cases, you will have the JUnit annotations also. Some is new, like that's available only in TestNG annotations. So just keep this in mind while importing these things. Okay, now all methods are imported. Now, when you run this code, then you will get to see the real logic, or you'll get to see how exactly it's executing. Now you see, let's check the output. So this is the console output. That's better if we see this way. These are the methods we are having, that is the test method annotations, before method annotations, after method annotations, before classes, after classes, before test, after test, before suit, after suit. Now, when you see here, as we have seen the description part, there you see the before suit annotation is the first one executing. Now, one thing more, what if you notice here, all the before annotations execute first, and then accordingly the after annotations execute. In this process, the first the before annotations execute, then the test annotation will execute. That is the main annotation that gives you the report part. So if you check the report here, though you are using some around 10 annotations, but still you get the test report of only one method, that is test run one and passes one. That means these annotations are just used to set the path or set the flow of code. In the main annotation, that is the test annotation, that will give you the test reports. So these things you need to keep in mind when you are creating codes or when you are writing codes in case of the TestNG. So basically, the annotations you need to understand many options of annotations to use, so you can use any annotations according to your requirement. So if you are using two before annotations at the same time, then in that case, you need to understand the complete flow or the sequence of the annotations executing. So if you see, before suit is the first annotation executing, same way before test is the second one executing. After that, before class is the third, before method is the fourth one. Now all the before methods are executed. After that, the test part will execute. That means before part executes first, after that the test part, and at the end we have the after, just in opposite manner, we have the after methods executing. So if before method was the last one to open, so it will be the first one to close. After method, again after class, after test. So basically, what's the reason behind knowing these annotations is, if you are trying to use two annotations in same class, that means two before annotations in same class, then it will be easy for you to categorize or to understand that which annotation executes first, which second. So it's like accordingly you can place your codes. So that's the use of the test annotations in TestNG. And these are the test annotations, and the sequence of execution of test annotations are in this form. Now, this is done. Now, let's come to the next example. That is the example where we'll see how we can use annotations. So in this example, basically, we are going to use only before annotations and after test annotations. So just I'll create one class, and I'm just taking one of the annotations, not all of this. Just I'm taking any one of the annotations, so that it will be clear like how annotations are exactly executed. So just create a class and name this class as before and after test class. So I'll name it as before and after. Before and after. Yeah, go for finish. Now, once that's done, let's remove this and straight away copy this code. And once copied, I'll explain you the complete flow of code, and it'll be easy for you to understand. Now, in this, just import this before test annotations, import this after test annotations, import the Chrome drivers, import the web drivers, and the web elements. These all are the parts of Selenium code. So the way we write the codes in Selenium, straight away we'll be writing here also the same way. Now, if I'm using, like, if I know that when I'm executing this code, we know that the properties part is the first thing that execute. And again, like the first we set the properties, that's the first thing we do in test case. Then the second thing what we do is we write the logics. That means we write the complete logical codes. So this is the website that is admin. This is the website. So because we are using for the first time, so I'll show you how it's working and what exactly we are doing here. This is the website. And in this website, just we are trying to do login. That means we are passing credentials to email, to password, and then we press the login button so that we get into the dashboard page or we can log in easily. So that's what we are doing here. So in this case, we are writing codes for that. First, we pass the get method, we pass the login. In username, we pass the details. In password, just we locate the username and password. And accordingly, we pass the details here. Now, we know that this part is more important. That means this, if we don't pass the right credentials, if we have some errors in this part, then the code will not execute, or that particular web page will not be tested. So this part we will keep inside the test annotations. So these things we need to plan, that what exactly we need to keep inside the test annotations, what we need to keep inside the before test, and what after test. Because it's clear that test annotation is only the annotations that give you the test reports. And when you are working with TestNG, it's important to get the test report. So that's what we are working for. That's what we are why we are working in TestNG. So the closing part we can keep inside the after test annotation, because the sequence of flow we know that before test will execute every time first, then the test annotations, and then after the annotations. Now let's run this code and see how it's executing. So first the link opens. Now the screen is maximized. The link, the website link will open and the credentials will be passed accordingly. And then once logged in, then the driver will close. It's taking a little bit longer. Yeah, the website links opens, credentials are passed, and then once logged in, you will be into the dashboard page. So yeah, now you're into the dashboard page. And once all the work is done, the driver will close. That's how the test annotations execute in case of like it executes in case of the annotations. This is how we can use the annotations according to our requirement. The flow of code was a bit slow because I'm using thread.sleep, and it's already explained in my Selenium tutorials that why we use thread.sleeps basically in our codes. That's all about the annotations. Now we'll talk about the next topic in our next video. Till then, stay tuned. Thank you.